The filming set was buzzing with activity on a particularly hot day, with cameras, lights, costumes, and crew members moving in every direction. Everyone was focused on getting the next scene ready, but the scorching sun made the atmosphere especially difficult. Tian Xiwei was standing on set, patiently waiting for the cameras to roll. She remained professional and cheerful despite the intense heat, carefully listening to the director and preparing herself for the next scene. Nearby, Zhang was also getting ready. Although he was busy with his own preparations, he seemed to notice how strongly the sunlight was falling on Tian Xiwei. At first, it appeared to be an ordinary moment between two busy actors. However, Zhang soon made a small gesture that caught the attention of people around them. He moved closer and positioned himself so that his body blocked some of the harsh sunlight from reaching Tian Xiwei. The gesture was simple, natural, and completely unexpected. There was no dramatic announcement or grand performance, just a quiet moment of consideration. Tian Xiwei initially seemed surprised. She looked toward Zhang as if wondering what he was doing. Then she realized that he was deliberately standing between her and the blazing sun. For a brief moment, the busy filming environment seemed to fade into the background. Tian Xiwei appeared amused by the thoughtful gesture, while Zhang simply remained there as though it were the most normal thing in the world. Several crew members reportedly noticed the moment and smiled. It was the kind of small interaction that could easily make an exhausting day feel a little warmer in a different way. The sun continued shining intensely, but Zhang did not immediately move away. Instead, he stayed nearby while Tian Xiwei continued discussing the scene with members of the production team. His gesture attracted attention because it did not look planned for the cameras. It seemed like a spontaneous act of kindness during a demanding workday. For fans who enjoy watching their interactions, moments like this can feel particularly memorable because they are subtle rather than exaggerated. Tian Xiwei eventually thanked him with a smile, creating another charming moment between the two stars. Zhang responded casually, almost as if he had done nothing special. That modest reaction made the scene even sweeter. The crew continued preparing the equipment, but the atmosphere around the two actors seemed noticeably lighter. Someone nearby appeared to laugh at the adorable situation, and the surrounding crew members could not help but react to the unexpected display of thoughtfulness. The heat was still intense, and everyone knew that filming under such conditions could be exhausting. Actors often have to remain in costume beneath powerful lights while repeating scenes multiple times, making even small comforts valuable. That was why Zhang Linghe's simple gesture stood out. It showed an awareness of the environment around him and a willingness to make things slightly easier for someone nearby. Tian Xiwei continued working professionally, never allowing the moment to distract her from the production. She listened carefully to the director's instructions and prepared for the next take. Zhang also returned his attention to filming, but the brief interaction had already become one of those memorable behind-the-scenes moments. Fans later imagined how cute the scene must have looked from the crew's perspective. Two popular actors were surrounded by cameras and production equipment, yet the sweetest moment happened away from the actual performance. It was not part of a scripted scene. There were no dramatic lines or carefully choreographed movements. Instead, it was simply one person noticing another person struggling under the heat and quietly offering some relief. That kind of gesture can sometimes speak louder than words. The moment also reminded viewers that filming is not always glamorous. Behind beautiful costumes, professional makeup, and polished scenes are long hours of waiting, repeated takes, bright lights, and uncomfortable weather. During those demanding moments, small acts of kindness can mean a lot. Tian Xiwei's smile suggested that she appreciated the thought, even if she did not make a big deal out of it. Zhang likewise seemed completely relaxed about what he had done. The crew eventually prepared the cameras for another take. Everyone returned to their positions, and the atmosphere became serious again as the director called the team to attention. Yet the little sun-shielding moment remained fresh in everyone's minds. For fans watching from afar, it became easy to understand why such ordinary interactions can create extraordinary excitement online. Celebrity fans often pay attention not only to performances but also to small gestures that reveal warmth and respect between colleagues. In this case, the gesture was particularly charming because it happened during an ordinary working moment. There was no spotlight specifically focused on Zhang or Tian Xiwei. They were simply two actors trying to get through a hot filming day. That made the moment feel more genuine to many viewers. Of course, a single gesture does not automatically prove anything beyond what was visible in that moment. It is best understood as a sweet act of consideration between two people working together. Still, that did not stop fans from celebrating the interaction. Social media discussions quickly imagined the crew's reactions, with many joking that everyone nearby must have secretly smiled at how thoughtful the moment was. Some fans described the scene as unexpectedly wholesome. Others focused on Tian Xiwei's reaction, saying her surprised expression made the entire moment even more adorable. The combination of scorching weather and Zhang Linghe's improvised shade created a scene that felt almost cinematic. It was a tiny moment, but sometimes the smallest moments become the ones people remember most. As filming continued, the two actors returned to their professional roles. The director called for another take, the cameras started rolling, and the set once again became busy. Whatever happened afterward, the simple gesture had already added a little warmth to an otherwise exhausting day. For everyone working under the blazing sun, the experience was a reminder that kindness does not always require something grand. Sometimes, all it takes is stepping closer, creating a little shade, and quietly making another person's day easier. And perhaps that is why this particular moment touched so many fans. It was sweet, effortless, and wonderfully human. Zhang Ling shielding Tian Xiwei from the scorching sunlight may have lasted only a short while, but it created a memorable behind-the-scenes story that fans could not stop talking about. In the end, the cameras may have captured the fictional world of the drama, but moments like this remind everyone that some of the most heartwarming scenes happen when the cameras are not the center of attention. The filming day continued, the sun eventually moved across the sky, and the crew returned to their busy routine. But for those who witnessed the adorable gesture, one thing was clear: sometimes a little shade can create a very big smile. And that tiny act of thoughtfulness became the sweetest unofficial scene of the day. As the afternoon continued, the temperature on the filming set remained high, making every break feel especially precious. The crew members moved quickly between equipment, trying to keep production running smoothly despite the uncomfortable weather. Tian Xiwei continued giving her full attention to the production. Even though the heat was clearly challenging, she remained focused and maintained the professionalism that people often admire about her. Zhang Ling also stayed busy, moving between rehearsals and preparations. Yet whenever there was a short pause, he seemed aware of what was happening around him. At one point, the two found themselves waiting near the same area of the set. The bright sunlight fell directly across the space where Tian Xiwei was standing. Once again, Zhang Ling positioned himself nearby, unintentionally creating a little shade. The moment was so simple that it could easily have gone unnoticed. However, someone from the crew appeared to notice and reacted with a smile. Tian Xiwei seemed to realize what was happening and looked toward him. Their brief exchange created an easygoing atmosphere before the next take. There was something charming about how ordinary the moment felt. Neither actor appeared to be trying to create attention. They were simply dealing with the realities of a long filming day. The crew soon called everyone back into position. Tian Xiwei adjusted her costume and prepared for the scene, while Zhang Ling checked his own position. The director gave instructions, and the set immediately became quiet. Once filming started, both actors switched completely into character. Their concentration showed how seriously they approached their work. After the take ended, everyone relaxed again. The heat remained the biggest challenge, but the atmosphere seemed lighter after the successful scene. During another short break, Tian Xiwei found a shaded area where she could rest for a few minutes. Zhang Ling passed nearby, and the two exchanged a quick smile. It was another tiny interaction, but fans would probably have noticed it immediately. Moments like these often become memorable because they happen naturally between demanding takes. The crew had plenty of work to complete, so there was little time for extended conversations. Still, the friendly atmosphere between the actors seemed to make the long day easier. One crew member reportedly joked about how powerful the sun was, making everyone laugh. The comment perfectly described the situation. Everyone was feeling the heat, and the actors were working under even more demanding conditions because of their costumes and performance requirements. Tian Xiwei laughed along with the crew. Zhang Ling also appeared relaxed, showing that the difficult conditions had not ruined everyone's mood. The production continued into another sequence. The cameras were positioned again, lights were adjusted, and the director carefully checked the framing. Despite the uncomfortable temperature, the team remained determined to complete the scene. Tian Xiwei delivered her performance with confidence. Zhang Ling matched her energy, creating the kind of on-screen chemistry that made the production team pay close attention. When the scene finished, the crew members immediately began discussing the next setup. The actors were given another short opportunity to rest. During that pause, the earlier sun shielding moment became a light-hearted topic among some people nearby. Nobody seemed to treat it as something dramatic. Instead, it was simply seen as a thoughtful and amusing moment during a busy day. That is perhaps what made it so appealing. Sometimes kindness is most meaningful when it happens without an audience. Zhang Linghe's gesture did not need a speech or explanation. He simply noticed the harsh sunlight and reacted. Tian Xiwei appeared to appreciate it, and the two continued working as usual. For fans, however, that brief exchange became something worth remembering. It offered a glimpse into the relaxed atmosphere that can exist behind a professionally demanding production. The day eventually began moving toward its later stages. The sunlight became slightly softer, giving everyone some relief. The crew continued filming while preparing for the final scenes of the schedule. Tian Xiwei remained energetic despite the long hours. Zhang Ling also continued giving his best effort. Their dedication impressed the people working around them. By the time the final setups were completed, everyone was ready for a proper break. The crew began packing some equipment while the actors finished their preparations. The exhausting heat had made the day difficult, but the team's positive atmosphere helped keep spirits high. For fans looking back at the day's behind-the-scenes moments, the sweetest memory was not necessarily a dramatic scene. It was the quiet image of Zhang Ling standing close enough to block the sunlight from Tian Xiwei. Whether viewed simply as a friendly gesture between colleagues or as a particularly adorable moment, it was undeniably wholesome. And perhaps that is why such a small action can become a big fan favorite. The entertainment world is filled with glamorous appearances and carefully planned moments, but genuine kindness can be much more memorable. A little shade on a hot day may sound insignificant. Yet when someone is tired, uncomfortable, and working for hours under the